We first discovered Andy's talents when we found that he was making changes on the computer that he really shouldn't be doing. And when we found how knowledgeable he was, Susan Smith and Steve Burton decided to channel that knowledge in a better route than the way it was going. And so they are responsible for turning a problem into an asset, really. And that was how we discovered Andy's knowledge.
I was playing with the school network on several occasions and finding security breaches, and I was just kind of having fun with it and playing with it because, you know.
Well, Andy is obviously just a natural. He has all the interest, and being a student as opposed to an employee, it's not a job to him. It's fun, and we're certainly using that. He's not the only person in the school that's got that kind of knowledge, and we're constantly watching the other students in the school to see who's coming along that will be able to fill his shoes, although they're going to be big shoes to fill.
He takes 3 academic classes in the mornings, and then he is stationed here in the library the 3 afternoon hours, and then other teachers in the building can use him for call if they have problems or if we have problems, and then he's able to go and help with other problems. He even goes out of the building sometime with Steve, goes to other schools, and they work on problems together. It's a wonderful resource that we're able to provide our teachers, and it's a wonderful resource to us.
It started this summer when I hired Andy as a sort of an intern with me to go around to the schools and do some of the maintenance things that I do on the network at each of the buildings. Cleaning up some files, checking passwords, checking security, which was probably where I wanted Andy to help me the most. Andy had already shown an interest in being able to ferret out security holes in networks, and so I used that expertise to try and fill some of those holes.
I get a lot of enjoyment. I do not get paid, but you know, if I wasn't doing this, I'd be at home doing something else, probably getting in trouble. You know, but I like doing it. And if I didn't like doing it, I wouldn't be here right now.
His knowledge has increased also as he's worked with Steve Burton. His own knowledge has increased. He came into this project with quite a bit of knowledge, but I'm sure it has expanded tremendously because when the two of them talk, they talk in shorthand. They each know what the other one is thinking. It's unusual to watch an adult and a young adult interact the way the two of these do.
But there's not a password to that. Well, there's also MRM, which is Maurice.
Which has probably not been used in a long time.
Yeah.
Is there intruder detection on these?
No.
I've learned an awful lot from this summer and, you know, the last couple of months. When I first started, I knew very little about networks. I knew enough to, you know, cause a few problems, but not like I know now. So, yeah, I've learned a lot of stuff. It's just amazing. You think back about how much you knew a year ago, and then it's doubled or maybe even tripled. It's just, the amount of knowledge is just amazing. Just about anything that technology maintenance does over here, I'm involved in. But they wired the school with Category 5 wiring, and part of that project was to add a new phone system and put a phone in each classroom. So just in the last 2 weeks, we've connected all the phones up and tested the system and just kind of phoned out, like you should say.
In every classroom. And Andy spent some relatively late hours. We were here till 8 or 9 o'clock a couple of nights.
I had never really thought about this program. And after seeing the impact that Andy has had in our building, I think this is a wonderful program, and I would like to expand that next year and the next to include more students and to continue the help that they're able to give, and also to help the students to move on with their knowledge and their contribution to the school also.
Well, when I was growing up, they had this saying that if life gives you lemons, you turn it around and make it lemonade. Now, that may be cliche, but it's exactly some of what we've just seen. So many times we get intimidated and we're afraid of what our students know. We're worried about the hacker. You know, we've seen computer articles in numerous newspapers. It's been broadcast in the media. And security has been a real concern for districts as they look at implementing the statewide network. But I think we've seen a case here where schools realized, yes, there was a problem, but then you turn that problem around and make it a resource, an asset for that school, and Andy has definitely been that. When I was previewing the video, one of the quotes that I liked best, that one of the teachers said, is that we've got to give the flexibility to let students choose their path. They can make a mistake and learn from it. And it's tough as a teacher to turn loose of that control, but important to the learning process. As one of our panel members said earlier, they also identify with that. How do you think that we can help STLP, that it can help in this transition of teacher turning loose of the control, but at the same time allowing students to take that risk in a safe environment, a safe learning environment? Linda, what do you think?
I think you have to have some professionals out there that feel real secure and know that the students have some real gifts that we need to take advantage of. We just need to change our thinking a little bit. Students have always had that, but we're just now beginning to get to a place where we realize how gifted our students can be in different areas and take advantage of that. There are so many things that they can add to our systems, our school systems, and our schools just on a regular basis. So my teachers had already suggested that some of our students on the elementary level be included in on the training that we're fixing to have on software, because they came to me and said, some of my students are already just way ahead of me. Let's let them take advantage of it. And that is, you know, that's the kind of thinking that we want. We want them to take advantage of it, and we want to try to keep up at the same time and guide them.
Well, Linda, you were talking about in-services that you're going to have for your teachers. The first in-service that we had for the teachers, I was the facilitator, and the students led the in-service. So they've led 2 in-services so far. The first one they did was on CD-ROM and Laserdisc player and one computer classroom. And the second one was on Microsoft Works and Windows. I only gave the points about how you sign up for the lab, how you check out different things, just the paperwork stuff, and then the students took over. And the teachers, all of the evaluations were very good. They just love it, and they want to know, when will I be able to sign up to have someone come and show me? And I feel that that was the best way, because I had been going around to the teams to let them know, and the students have been telling them, but to actually see that the students are able to do it. And they would say, they know more than I know. And I said, well, they're not afraid to jump in. They're not afraid to do this. And in January, it's the next in-service, and the students they're training each other now. And that's the way that I feel is the best way for students to learn, is to have them learn and then teach others. It's like the model where the trainer is, teaching the trainer?
Train the trainer model.
That's train the trainer. And that's what they do. Because when you have software and hardware in a building, there's no way that one person will be able to learn all of that software and all of the hardware. But if you have 10 students and the students decide, they need to have a choice. If you say, you learn this, you learn that. If you have a list of everything that you would like for the students to know more about and to be able to show others, let them go and tell you what they want to do. And then they learn it, and then they train others to use it, and then they go out in the school and train. Because a good way to do that is when students are in the computer labs and they're working on a word processing document, if they finish, the first thing, I don't know what to do. What do I do next? There's a tech there to say, well, I can show you this program that I know. And that's what they've been doing.
That's a great use of time. Now, Lee, I remember early on when I first met you was even before I met you. Now, for people that are into the internet and surfing, all that kind of stuff that I'm still learning about, they'll know what that means because you were one of the catnet lurkers, as I called them. You and Jason Browning, I remember very early on, were very, wrote just volumes, it seemed like, and were one of the first and most active users. And I have a feeling that if in your district there were probably those that thought, oh no, here's one of those little hackers we hear about. But obviously you've turned out to be a real asset for your district. How did that occur? What mechanism allowed you to identify the talent you had, and then what mechanism brought you into this leadership role that you possess?
Well, I started out on computers really in 5th grade. That was in Mrs. Rosemary Gold's Gifted and Talented class. She was guide from the side, and I loved every minute of it. It was the best, probably the best 2 years I've ever had when it comes to letting a teacher letting me choose my own experiences and letting me develop what I wanted to develop. It gave me the opportunity to learn this, and when I went to the middle school, our new Model 25 bass band lab was in, and I didn't realize that there were noises that were made when you logged in as an administrator or supervisor. Well, I was sitting there and just decided it was really, really quiet, you know, and all of a sudden this big noise comes out and the teacher looks up, and I was scared to death. I thought I was going to get in trouble, but she just wanted to know how I knew to get in. And I didn't know. I just explored on my own instead of doing my typing assignment. I got drawn into the actual technology leadership in high school when it's needed. When you get in the lab setting, a lab supervisor and or teacher cannot take care of 30 students when it comes to helping each one individually. You have to have peer mentoring in that situation. There's no other way. And that's where I started out. People would know that I knew how to do something. They would ask me. They still do. I can barely get out of the computer lab a lot of the time because we have such a strong need for peer tutoring in the lab. And this program is fulfilling that, but we need to get more students involved so that there will be someone down there all the time.
And that's exactly the case, I think, that what STLP is built on, is the idea of recognizing individual talent, but also encouraging talent that maybe hasn't been recognized in the past. Inclusion, allowing everyone an opportunity to succeed and an opportunity to grow and develop. In our next clip, we see another school program that is built on diversity, that's built on inclusion, and I think Cynthia's probably very proud of it, and she's got a right to be. We're going to be looking at No Middle School in Jefferson County.
I explained to the technology assistants that they are privileged individuals because they're able to move around the building, and teachers will eventually get to know them and know that they're technology assistants. Once you get your hall pass, go anywhere if you want, wherever you want to go. Do you go where you want to go to party, to have fun? Where are you going when you go these places? You have privilege.
To help teachers if they needed our check printers or set up laptops.
Okay. And then what are you supposed to do with your pass after you finish?
Put it back where you got it from.
They do not have to be on the honor roll. They do not have to make perfect grades to be a technology assistant. But I encourage them that if you have this responsibility, and students see you in this responsibility, that if your report card, if you have all F's or D's, that's not a good image. Plus, of course, I don't have to worry about behavior because if we trust them as a school to move around to build the building, to deliver laptops, to take laptops home to receive more training, the behavior is very good when they're with technology. I'm not saying that when they get back to the other areas, because we have some students that some teachers have talked to me about that we need to work on a little bit in some of the academic areas or in the hall. But when they're dealing with technology, I've had several teachers to tell me that it's like a different student when they're dealing with technology because they accept this responsibility and they enjoy what they're doing. I approached the students about a month and a half ago, and I asked them if they would be interested in doing presentations to their classes, because they had presented at 2 in-services with teachers. We've had technology assistants to co-present with me after school 2 in-services. 1 computer classroom using CD-ROM and laser displayer. They also presented at workshop in-service with teachers, Microsoft Works and Windows.
So one of the days it was at 7 o'clock and lots of teachers came in, and now me and him, we had to show the laser disc. And now since I like the laser disc so much, I enjoy working with it, and I learned a lot about it.
So a lot of these laser discs, they come in French and Spanish, and a lot of times they have them on, they'll be doing like a math unit, and it'll be in Spanish. And in order to get off Spanish, you have to get like the audio and just how to rewind it, how to forward it, how to different frames, stuff like that.
If a student needs help, they're quick to rush to that student's aid. For example, Jonathan, a little girl could not get her story to print, and rather than wait for the teacher to come and print, show her how to use the printer and all that, Jonathan knew right away to go to the printer and turn it on and then show her how to bring it up and print it. So they're an asset. They're definitely not in the way. They're invaluable to us. They definitely free us up so that we're able to help students, but then everybody gets the attention that they need.
By the time we get to printing, there's about 30 questions from 30 students, and there's 3 teachers in the room instead of 1. So it helps out a whole lot.
Well, I had to show them how to make a picture on a cover, and I had about 15 students at the same time asking me the same question, how to do it. And I taught them all at the same time. I was teaching them about words, but they didn't want to hear me that way. They wanted me to show them exactly how to do it. So I had to sit down and show them one by one how to do it, and it took at least 2 days to finish 15 students, because they wanted it to be perfect so they can get an A, and I wanted them to get an A too. So I had to help them out as best as I could, teach them what I knew.
And there are children who would ordinarily be behavior problems that have these responsibilities now, and you can definitely see a more I don't know how to put it, but they carry themselves in a more responsible manner. They seem to feel better about themselves to have that kind of responsibility, and the kids seem to have a lot more respect for them as well. So all the way around, to have these kids oriented to this type of technology definitely benefits all, teachers, students, and those who are the tech aides.
My science teacher, Miss Rogers, she asked me if I'd help her on certain programs, and other teachers, they think it's amazing. They think it's real incredible, because I've never worked on a computer in my life. And I thought working with computers was neat, so I picked this class. Because I thought working with computers are neat, and teaching teachers how to do them, because teachers are here to teach us, and we're actually teaching them too at the same time.
I think you've seen a good example there of how the technology is really secondary to the point of where training and developing leadership capacity in the students, because that is what the program is about. The technology is merely the motivation, the hook, the vehicle whereby we can get students to participate. But what we're working toward in this program is designing an initiative, an effort where we can help students identify their own strengths and then foster that leadership development. Cynthia, I noticed in your program that there was quite a bit of diversity with regards to ethnicity and gender and skill levels. What kinds of strategies did you use to foster this sense of inclusion, and how do you think this has helped make your program stronger?
No, I thought it was very important that students see this role as a very important role, as a very important program. But I also wanted them to see that not just one group of students would be assigned to do this to be a part of this program. So at the beginning, the flyers went out to teachers. This is the third year that we've had students. We started off with 8 students the first year and 12 to 16 students the second year, and now we have 24 students. But I ask for teachers to talk to their classes and find out who would be interested in working with technology. And on that particular flyer, I also put that I am interested in students to be a representative, a population representative of this school, and I put the different groups down. And I know it is a very diversified school. We have students from Vietnam. We have close to 50 or 60 ESL students. That's English as a second language. We have several ECE units. Our programs range from regular, quote, advanced, gifted, and talented. I wanted a little bit of everything. It's such a wonderful, when students see that this group is not only the students that are quick recall, a governor's cup, or the problem-solving team. It's a makeup of all the students. Athletes, not only, and you have students who want to do this. The thing is, if they want to do it, I feel that we should provide the opportunity. And then I seek students. I go to these students, and if I notice that the students, the flyers did not indicate, let's say, for example, that I'm interested that we show that females are very good in math and science. That's what we need to promote. We need to promote that females are very good in math. We've had cases that students feel that only males have high grades in math. That's not true. And we need to try to alleviate that. And when the student body sees these students in this role and they know about technology, this is math, this is science. And that's what we're trying to do. We have our ESL technology assistants now working with the ESL teacher in the lab, translating. When I am assisting the teacher and I am having trouble getting the students to understand what I'm saying, then they tell the students in Vietnamese what I'm trying to say. And I wouldn't be able to do it without them. That's my main motto. What would I do without you all? And I say that constantly, too.
That's great. I noticed in our clip we got to meet Sherry. She seems like a very special person. How has her involvement in STLP changed school for her?
Sherry is a very special young lady, very dynamic, very good sense of humor. I don't think Sherry actually meets a stranger. She didn't, as you can tell, she didn't have any trouble in front of the camera. Sherry has been able to excel more in the academic area. Her teachers have told me that she has less problems with the academics. There were occasions that she would become frustrated with her performance, whereas now she has not had any problems at all this year. Tell you the truth, we don't really see Sherry as having she's not any different than any of the other techs. And that's all of us. Only thing I am aware of, when you have a student that's a special needs student, you need to make sure that you fulfill their needs. If Sherry is working upstairs in the computer lab, we need to make sure that we know how to get Sherry down from the second floor to the first floor if there's a fire. That's the only thing I'm aware of. I care about her safety, but as far as other jobs, she travels throughout the building. She has she gets the key to the elevator. She goes up on the elevator, and it's not any problems at all.
It sounds like what you've been doing through the program is exactly part of what the goal is, because what we're doing is we're showing them that the rest of their life doesn't start in 10 years or when they graduate. Their life is right now, and taking responsibility and control for that is their responsibility now as well. One of the things that you mentioned in an interview that I saw before is the role that setting expectations has in developing leadership. Lee, as a student, how important is it to you that your teachers and the people that you work with have high expectations for you? What does that do for your performance?
Oh, it definitely increases my desire to perform. If there's something that I cannot show a teacher that they need to know, I will try to learn it. I will at least try to find out how I can help them. That's one of the roles as a leader. That's one of the roles as a techie. You know, we have to do that, and if somebody asks you for that and they are dependent on you, you automatically have an increase in desire to perform better.
Linda, as an administrator in a building, I know expectations are very important from both your staff perspective and your students. How important do you think that it is in building that leadership trait? Because I know as an administrator, you have to always identify who are the up-and-coming leaders. But in this case, now we're not having to look at just our teachers. Now we're having to look at our students as well. What role do you see that expectation have in identifying leaders and encouraging that?
Well, I think it goes back to the basic core of everything, and that's self-image and self-concept. And any time that you can provide an opportunity for a child to succeed, you're going to boost that self-image. And the more you boost that self-image, the more confidence you build. The more confidence you build, it kind of trickles everywhere. And then that student feels like they can become a leader and they can do more. And as you expect more, you will get more. If you don't expect a lot, you probably won't get a lot. So you need to expect a lot. You don't get unrealistic about it, but you keep those expectations out there so they have something to work toward. And I think that technology is just going to play a major role in the development of our children in so many different areas.
I agree with you, because at the beginning of the year, we sit, the technology assistants, we call our technology assistants, the tech team. We sit down and we talk about roles and responsibilities. What do you expect from this particular program? What do you think I expect of you? And what they do, they write this down, and then we talk about it, and then they go back, and if they decide that their expectations of themselves, oh, that's too low, then they feel like, hey, I want to be able to do more than what I thought I would be able to do because I think I can do this. But the thing is, you keep telling them, I expect you to be able to do this. I expect that you're going to know. At the beginning, they took an informal survey, and they indicated how much they knew about certain software and hardware and different things about presenting. That's one thing we're working on, how to present yourself to the teachers and how to do a presentation. And what they're going to do at the end of this semester, they're going to go back and take that same inventory, and I'm very interested to see what it is they're going to say where they had indicated that they were not familiar with certain software or they did not know how to present certain things to teachers, that at least they can say that they know how to do this now.
You have something to say, Lee?
Yes. One point that you made was students must learn to present themselves to a teacher. That's another wonderful outcome of STLP is the development of public relations. They must realize that they can't be the same with a teacher as they are with a student. They have to be a little more careful, not tiptoe around the teacher, but you know, just learn better public relations, and that'll help them out in the workforce later.
Basically, you're talking about effective communication, because you've learned how to talk to your peers and you learn how to talk to those that are in different situations than you are. And I think that's an invaluable skill, and again, one that we strive for in everything we do. Okay, I'm going to give you a second to think about this one, but here's the question. As you look at STLP and where it is today, brainstorm, or let's vision for a moment. Where do you see STLP going? What is your personal vision for STLP? The reason I say that, today in the broadcast, we've looked at some specific schools that are already underway with their programs. However, there are many more out there that are doing dynamic things. For example, we heard a situation recently where Casey County Middle School students traveled to Rockcastle County Elementary, and these students from the middle school taught the teachers at Rockcastle County and their students there Linkway. And we have another situation where in Anderson County, the students are running the district's bulletin board as a communications vehicle for within the school and the community. I know in Jefferson County, they have recently hired 5 of their students as actual district employees now, while they're still students, to serve in a capacity of technical assistance at a very high level where they no longer do any outside contracting for wiring and installation. And so these are just a few other examples of the ability and the capacity that already exists. So let's come back to our question. I'm going to ask each of you briefly to share your vision for what STLP can mean to Kentucky schools and Kentucky students. Cynthia?
I feel that the future should not have boundaries, that students in the whole school will feel a part of the program on some level, that they will actively engage in technology and then share this technology in the community, also their homes. That's one thing we did not mention, the fact that students will take technology home to their parents, and parents want this because they're asking for it. And also share it in with business people, so that the business people will know that they have these students in training now, and in the years to come, it won't be starting from scratch teaching them about technology.
Okay. Linda?
Well, being from private industry, I have a different perspective than just having been in education only. And technology's everywhere, just everywhere. And once again, Kentucky's on the cutting edge. And I see STLP in Kentucky probably being unlimited, like you said, Cynthia, as far as within Kentucky. But I also see it being unlimited outside of Kentucky. Being one of the first, we're going to be teaching other people throughout the nation about STLP as well. And you can do that via technology. And so I think that's a real important piece as well. I just don't think that there are any limits to what we're going to be doing before long.
Okay. Lee?
I agree with y'all. STLP is unlimited. We can make this program go as far as we want to make it go. Technology is going to play a major part in the reform that we're experiencing. It's going to affect the way we learn for many years to come. In turn, STLP will also affect that because we will help instruct others in technology. It's an invaluable resource and will continue to be for the school as well as the community as soon as some of us get out there into that workforce.
Okay. Well, you're probably sitting at home then. We've looked at what is STLP. We have looked at who is an STL, and we've discussed the benefits of the program. And our last point is recapped in our PowerPoint presentation when we look at how can I participate, or what are the next steps. Well, step 1 in this process is completing an STLP application. These were mailed out to the school, an informational brochure, and there's a reply card attached, and when those are returned, then we forward an application to the school so that they can begin this process. Step 2 in the process is attend the STLP coordinators training in your region. During the month of January, there will be regional training set up to help you, the school coordinator, understand your role and how to begin to implement this exciting program. Step 3, after you've gotten your training, then you begin your in-school recruitment campaign, and that's exactly what it is. It is a recruitment campaign where you look at the possibilities within your school and you dream and vision with your students. And step 4, we look at KETC. It's another opportunity for you, the local school person, to network with others, to find out what other exciting initiatives are already occurring across the state and how you can modify those to make them work in your school. And finally, step 5, attend the STLP Summer Training Institute. During the month of July this year, part of the program is a week-long institute designed for STLP program coordinators and student leaders. It's a dual-track program so that the adults and the students aren't working together just in the school, but they're training together as well, so that, again, they continue to reinforce the idea that there's a lot to gain. The application packet we mentioned earlier should look something like this. It is a yellow packet, so if this is floating around your school and you're not sure, be sure you find out who has it, because this is the first step in putting an STLP, making it an active part of your school. Well, I'd like to thank the panelists we've had today. It's been an exciting program, and I'll tell you what, it's been exciting working with them for the past 9 months. Lee, I'd like to thank you and wish you the best of luck as you begin your transition out of high school into that big world of work. But being part of STLP, you've already had a lot of experience with that. Linda, as a principal, I applaud the vision and the innovation that you're trying in your school as you lead by example. And Cynthia, I applaud you because you're one of the pioneers. You've been doing this for a long time. And sometimes the pioneers can get very tired, especially when they're on their own. But I think that's one of the things that this program will do is the synergistic effect of allowing others who are starting this effort to gain the enthusiasm and to propel it into a much more accelerated and successful direction. Because STLP is not another club. It's not another program. It's a way of looking at life. It's a way of looking at students and educating them. It's saying all students have merit, all students have something to contribute, and it's our job as the educators to identify that potential, but do more than identify it. It's begin to use that, because they aren't just the leaders for tomorrow, they're already leaders today. So let's harness that creative, youthful energy that's there, and let's begin to let them take that active role in instruction that we talk so much about. One final note, we mentioned earlier about KETC and the pre-conference. Recently in the Kentucky Teacher, you should have received a pre-registration brochure for KETC and a pre-registration brochure for the pre-conference sessions. These will be very important to you as you look at how you're going to participate in KETC and what it has to offer you. Again, we thank you for joining us today, and we hope that you've begun to catch the vision for what STLP is and what it can do for your schools as we continue together to transform public education in Kentucky.